Oh boy, so we have a brand new problem that is really beginning to take hold in the Outriders community, and it is not good news for the long-term success of this game. They've really got to get this one nailed down. We're going to be taking a look at this right here, how Outriders griefers are kicking players out of the in-game missions before they can get their loot, and it is becoming a serious issue at this point. At first, it seemed to be a bit rare, but it's becoming more commonplace in the community. It's definitely very toxic. In my opinion, it's one of the biggest problems that the game faces right now. Plus, we do have an official reply from the dev team and what they will be doing about this in the future. Plus, the golem glitch is getting a patch, but is this really good news? It is and it isn't. I'll explain in just a moment. So we've got a lot to talk about. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here, hope you're doing good, and let's dive in right now, starting out with this article right here from Eurogamer.net, of course, about the Outriders griefers. It is definitely a toxic effect. It says Outriders griefers are kicking co-op players out of the in-game missions before they can get their loot. The game's in-game, dubbed Expeditions, features a number of rock-hard encounters that, if completed, reward powerful loot. We already know this. Now, it says these expeditions only reward loot upon completion. Now, after clearing the final encounter, you trot over to the drop pod, activated, of course, and it spits out your loot. This is where the trolls are stepping in to ruin their victims' day, kicking them out before they reach the drop pod. Now, I wanted to say something about this. How is this even a thing? How did the developers think it was a smart idea to include a kick feature up to that point in an expedition? Why isn't it locked off from the host or whoever at that point in the expedition? I think common sense would say, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow anyone to kick anyone at this point during an expedition. Now, let's see what the article further says. It says, I joined early in an expedition, helped the guy all the way to the end, and right before we opened the drop pod, he kicked me, said Fancy Tangerine 3312 in a post on the Outriders subreddit. It says this was totally unfair. The same way someone can't join after the last encounter starts should be the same for kicking someone. Now, Fancy Tangerine 3312 is not alone. Over the past week, as more and more Outriders players get stuck into its in-game, I've seen an increasing number of reports from players who were kicked before they were able to get their loot from expeditions. Redditor TX Diesel Kid is another affected player. He says this, it's 2021 and people are still kicking before loot drop. They said, how is this even a thing? I actually do not understand why someone would do this. How do people enjoy doing this? You know, I really think that developers need to just assume the worst from their community. Like, that's just the thing. They need to look at a game and say, you know what? What could the community do that is the worst of the worst? And this is one of the worst things. There needed to be safeguards in place before the game even released. And, you know, it's a shame that they didn't have an expedition during the demo of the game so they could catch this during that month period. That's one of the things that I think they should have had, was one expedition on offer during the free demo period so people can try that out, and then they could also be aware of this problem that has arisen from the community. Now, here we go. They say this, People Can Fly really needs to address this ASAP, maybe a 20-second timer once the mission is cleared from being kicked. So what is People Can Fly doing about this? We need to take a look at the official post recently and dig into it here. So let's take a look at this specific area right here. This was about their patch that's coming up and other patches that are forthcoming here. It says this, intentions behind balancing expeditions, downscaling, and other key areas of discussion in the community. Of course, we're looking at expeditions specifically right now, but yeah, they're also looking at the downscaling issue, which is, I think, one of the biggest concerns of the game as well. It says, we're aware that these are topics that are currently attracting a lot of a discussion throughout the community. They are, of course, also topics that we discuss internally. However, because they are fundamental aspects of the game, feedback and considerations for change must be considered over a longer period of time. This is to say that while we haven't yet talked about these topics, we do intend to do so in the future. They need to do that in the immediate future. Honestly, I'm surprised that the expedition kicking issue is not being resolved in the upcoming patch. Now, I am glad that they are patching the game and doing things with the upcoming patch, which if you guys did miss, they had a bunch of patch notes here. They're going to be looking at the difficulty with snipers, difficulty with the excessive knockbacks. That sort of thing is super important, but they're going to be testing that out on the Stargrave Expedition first and foremost, it seems, to see how that works out first, I think. But yeah, they really need to look at this big expedition issue. This is where a lot of the core community is spending their time, is in expedition, simply because it has the best reward. So I think they really need to say something very, very soon about what's going on with this very big issue that is really, in my opinion, taking hold of the community. It's even if you don't experience it, you're going to have that sense of paranoia. It's like the inventory wipe issue that we saw, where everyone was paranoid. Oh man, am I going to hop on today and have my whole inventory wiped? The same thing can be true about what's going on with expeditions right now. Players are going to be paranoid about hopping into expeditions and being kicked for no reason right at the end, right before they grab their loot. So that's a huge problem, that paranoia that can happen in the community. Alright, now let's talk about the golem glitch. It says here, Outriders plans to fix the golem bug. Players are not happy. And there's many reasons why players would not be happy, and of course would be happy that this bug would be addressed. Of course, if you aren't aware, the golem glitch basically allows you to have that certain mod activated at all times, and it's great for soloing expeditions, and that's where it becomes a concern when it gets patched, is that a lot of players are going to be like, damn, I can no longer solo expedition tier 15. And that's where I think it's going to be a problem. So, in my opinion, after they fix this golem bug, and I think that's going to be happening in the next patch, they're going to have to buff certain areas of the game to help players out that were using this glitch. Like, a lot of people were actually dependent on the golem glitch to get through expeditions. I myself have been purposely like ignoring the golem glitch right now just to see how I can do, and it definitely makes life a lot more difficult. Someone asked me, yo, why aren't you running the golem glitch right now? I mean, you should be, and of course you can take advantage of it, whatever you want, but yeah, it's definitely going to make it more difficult on players. So People Can Fly is definitely going to have to act very quickly with this one as well. Consider buffing certain defensive tools or something in the future to help players out, or adjust difficulty. Something's going to have to happen here. But my assessment as well is they aren't really catering to the solo crowd anyway. They want this to be a multiplayer centric game, and I personally think that's actually a bummer. I really wish they would cater more towards the solo crowd so people can really enjoy the game in any way, shape, and form, whether you're playing multiplayer or solo. Now, we have some requests from the community. Let's dive into those, shall we? Let's take a look and see what you guys are saying here. We have a Spaghetti, I think it is, the new, who says, People Can Fly, we need to be able to favorite gear. He says, I just lost 2 pieces of my perfect build because I was messing around with another one, and my dismantle reflex had the better of me. So you guys want to be able to lock that gear up. Make sure you don't dismantle it. I have been so freaking paranoid about that as well. Of course, you get that warning message if it is something that you've actually crafted, but sometimes that just doesn't happen, especially when it comes to legendary gear. You might accidentally miss something, and I think they really need to organize the inventory better, especially by favorites. Even in the stash, I want to be able to have like, icons where I have starred certain things that I want to keep for, hey, this is great for an anomaly build. This is great for, firepower. That sort of thing would be really, really cool in the future, so you can take a glance at it and go, okay, I know what I'm doing with my inventory. In fact, they should have like little symbols on your inventory before you even highlight over it that's telling you this is a firepower gear. This is going to be anomaly, because, a lot of us are hyper-focused on either firepower or anomaly builds. Alright, so we have a PSA from the Reddit community. This one comes from Chisel, who says this, PSA, you don't have to kill everything to use the elevator in Kim Plant Expedition. Please, for the love of God, stop trying to kill everything and just get into the damn elevator. It will activate after like 15 seconds and you can get in. You literally don't have to move at all after starting it. It's very frustrating to have your teammates run off and fight everything and ruin a gold run. So yeah, that's good advice right there. Make sure you just hop into the elevator get in there as quickly as possible. Now, also, we have this right here from Peculiar Pete, who says you can shave 30 seconds off launching the game by deleting the intro movie. I don't know why you can't skip the intro movie, but this is a great video. It shows you how to actually do that on PC. So if you want to get rid of that annoying intro video, go for it. There is actually a way to do that, so check it out right there. All right, so let's keep going. This is actually a pretty funny post right here. This comes from Maury, who says this: got this from a challenge tier 15 petty chest after dying in Kim Plant, used up all my luck for the next year. Dude, I wish that would happen to me. And it's item level 50. That is so freaking unfair, but nice. Nice. So good for you. Hopefully that can happen to me in an Expedition run as well. All right, let's go over your top comments. Let's do this. So my last video was called The Following. It was called, finally, they're listening to us. Sniper nerfs, knockback changes. I actually spelled that wrong. I need to fix that. And new updates. I don't know how I have not noticed that the entire time. Weird. But yeah, that's going to be fixed. But anyway, yeah, it's good to see that People Can Fly at the very least is focusing in on some things. I guess you'd say, like the sniper nerf that's coming up here. So we don't have to worry about those pesky snipers constantly controlling the flow of gameplay and the battlefield. They are overbearing big time, and again, it's one of the reasons why I personally avoid certain expeditions or certain missions altogether in this game, and that's not the way it should be. So let's see what you guys had to say about the recent patch notes, shall we? Alright, Brian goes on to say the following: the biggest pain in the game is not being able to play with my friends because of lagging so bad you can't get a skill off. So yeah, lag is a big issue. It says, Rookie Danchin says this: my biggest pain is when I try to join a random co-op session, I always get yellow and red signal. I'm just lagging across the map and just end up dying. It's something that People Can Fly is trying to investigate right now, but I guess it's really difficult to figure out what's going on there. Now, John Jordan says this: I just want them to fix the huge gap from playing with 2 people versus playing with 3 in expeditions. How about the gap between like solo play, 2 people, 3 people, and then also the downscaling? And it's just the biggest problem is the downscaling. Now, the SC says this: the only real thing that concerns me about Outriders is Robbie still not using auto loot. I know. I saw some replies here, some hilarious replies right here. Where is it? Oh yeah, David says, it's called being old school. I do the same. Old habits die hard there, buddy. Yeah, sometimes I just like looking at the loot on the ground. It's like, oh. But I do use the auto loot. It's just a habit. If I see a legendary pop out, I'm just going to go to the ground and take a look at it. It's just like a habit, an automatic thing. Let me know if you guys are the same way. But more and more, I have been using the auto loot big time. Alright, V7MDV says, as a trickster, it's the most annoying thing when I teleport behind a captain, alpha, or any elite, and it's already started its attack. That's the same thing with snipers. I've literally teleported behind a sniper, and he still gets the shot off. I'm like, what the hell has happened? So there's some oddities still going on with the AI for sure. Now, Mellow Warner says this: the worst when you can't use your weapon or ability in multiplayer. I have not had that happen to me, but apparently some of you have. Joseph says, the mob high damage stagger attacks that have 0 timer are my pet peeve. Looking at you, Eye of the Storm, and they're the biggest problem. I think they're going to be using Stargrave as the testing ground right now. They probably picked one expedition, the one that's not being played at all, really, for the most part. I think most people are like running Kim Plant, maybe Boomtown, that sort of thing. But yeah, they're looking at that one. They're probably going to be using that, honestly, as their test site for a lot of changes that they're going to be implementing in Expedition. That's my assessment, and it would make sense to be like, what's the least popular expedition where we can really test out patches on? So yeah, that's what they're probably doing. Alright, so there it is, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the video and for all the love and support on the video. Stay tuned for more Outriders news and updates and more open world gaming goodness. See you all next time. Take care.